Sharina, can you share the link in the chat box for YouTube?
Yes, sir.
And ask Soha to share this on my LinkedIn profile
Okay.
that we are live on YouTube.
Okay, sir. YouTube live.
Yes,
Yes.
YouTube live. Yeah, can you send the on the chat board the link?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Brother Fuda.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's it going, everyone?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
Change my name quickly here, I think.
For that, there's the LinkedIn profile. We take your picture from there. It is much clean.
Yeah, I'm overdue for a new profile picture. So
Um,
So what time is it right now?
It's to start. Shall we start, Farooq?
Yes, we can start now because
for
we
me,
have
it's
all
7
the
a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to Alif Technologies webinar series. And today we have a very interesting, topic and very well-known and renowned speakers with us. The topic is digital assets, and then about this finance, and then we will talking about the cryptos and whether they are halal or haram, what are their, how you do that one. We have very good, let me share the profiles of the speakers. 1 minute, hold on. One. We have 3 speakers today with us. Okay, we have Dr. Farooq Habib with us, and Dr. Farooq Habib is the co-founder of Alif Technologies. He's expert in Islamic laws, finance, fintech with over 10 years of global experience. He's the founder of CEO of Bustles Innovation and co-founder of Alif Technology, focused on Islamic fintech and halal digital economy, including artificial intelligence, blockchain, tokenization, and Sharia compliance. He's currently involved in various fintech projects as an advisor, mentor, or core team member. Dr. Farid is also keen interest in intersection of fintech and sustainability, is currently focusing on ESG, SDGs, SRCs, and green finance. He believes that these areas are critical for achieving shared financial prosperity and sustainable economy for future for all. And the other, our speaker is Mr. Jafar Rehan, Head Finance, Islamic Finance, Labwan, Malaysia, is currently heading the Islamic Finance section of Labwan FSA. Before joining LFSA, he was the head of business development in Coop Bank Patnama. He He was general manager of Simfanan Sharia, world first Sharia pension fund department in Coop Bank. He's I think he's disappeared. Sorry. So he's now currently in Bangkok on in a webinar on money, which was Jafar, what you're doing over there?
No, we are attending a Money 2020 conference
Yes.
in Bangkok. Yeah, Money
Okay.
2020.
Money 2020 is attending that conference over there. And his last position with the Bank Nigara was as the manager of the Islamic money market and investment operations and finance. You can understand how much, he have experience on all this. He's currently also attending one more event, and he will be speaking with us. And the last one is Mohammad Fauda. He's ecosystem developer from Inshallah Network USA. Mohammed is Web3 researcher. Before we have seen that name was Mr. Tariq. He's a colleague with Mr. Tariq. Tariq is not feeling today. And so Fauda is been with him, researcher, fintech investor, innovator, engineer with deep background in electrical engineering, and photonic and blockchain innovation. Is currently serving as the chief product officer at Inshallah, where he focuses on building crypto products for Muslim community globally. Previously, he was the head of research at Alliance and a venture capital at Vault Capital. Mohammed hold a PhD in electrical engineering from Northwest University and has published in extensively on advanced technology, including in photonic computing and nano system, with a unique blend of technical expertise and investment insight. Mohammed brings a valuable perspectives to the intersection of blockchain, fintech, and ethical finance. To you, Dr. Farooq.
Thank you so much, Jazakallah Khaira. Thank you so much. I am pleased to be in this webinar. Before I start, I would like to basically say that I am basically not only the guest, but the host as well, because this webinar has been organized by Alif Technologies. So Jazakallah Khaira to the speakers, and thank you so much for coming in and all the participants as well. So inshallah, I will not take a lot of time, but what I will do is I will give a very short presentation of 10 minutes, very briefly. And inshallah, then every speaker will be doing that, maybe perhaps a small speech or a presentation if they would like to have. It's up to them. And after that, we will be opening our floor for the Q&A, direct Q&A, so you can ask your questions, inshallah. So my area of focus and topic is in today's webinar is Sharia aspects of cryptos and latest trends in Islamic finance. So let me just very quickly share my screen with you so that you can also see it. Just confirm that if you can see my screen.
Yes, yes, you can see.
Okay, perfect. This is wonderful. So let me just start with the Sharia aspect of cryptos and latest trends in Islamic finance. So what is going on and what is the Sharia aspect of it? So first of all, we will dive into the question that whether digital assets, crypto assets, Bitcoin, are they halal or not? So although if you are asking a very specific question that whether is this specific crypto is halal or not, we have to understand that how Sharia actually approach any new case or a case which is not mentioned in the classical fiqh. So first of all, we have to understand that what is the actual nature of crypto assets. So if you look at the definition of crypto assets, it is a digital representation of value or rights that are secured by cryptographic encryption and typically use some type of DLT like blockchain. So this is the definition. And in this definition, you will see that I have highlighted some of the the terminologies. So first of all is digital, which means that it's virtual. You cannot see it and touch it in physical form. And there is no Sharia problem with that, because if you look at the Islamic Fiqh Academy resolution or IOFI Sharia standards, they all accept digital and virtual assets. Even in the classical fiqh, we also see a lot of examples of intangible assets, the assets which cannot be touched, or where they do not have any physical presence. For example, manfa'a, benefits, or usufruct. These are also, and huquq, like rights. They are all intangible and they can be considered as intangible assets. I give you a very classical example that in even like in Prophet's era, in Sahaba's era, we used to have, we see that like there were some practices of ijara, lease contract. So what is actually an ijara contract? So in ijara contract, if you see it like a lease contract, you are renting a right to another person. For example, if it is a lease contract of a house, then it means that like you are renting this house, meaning that like you are trading the right to live in that house with somebody else against a compensation. So in that sense, it is an intangible asset, the right itself, and you are trading it with some prices, with rent. So this is a classical example of intangible assets. So second thing is basically that when we talk about assets, then we have to understand that these assets are digital. They live on blockchain. These are tokens, but they derive their value from a source. What is that source? So Sharia asks this question. So this source can be trust, that this is the value is derived from the trust the people have, or they can be a commodity, they can be a business, project, a state or government, right, benefit, usufruct. All these type of sources of value are there behind this crypto asset, but some of them are not Sharia compliant and some of them are Sharia compliant. We will be talking about them in the later slide, but this is basically the main question. Cryptographic encryption and blockchain, these are basically the technology. The technology is very neutral and there is no Sharia objection on it. It is basically the usage of this technology, that how you are using this technology. If you understand that and you are using this technology in a Sharia compliant manner, then cryptographic encryption or blockchain will not be a problem at all. So let's focus on the source of value first. In Sharia, for example, we have a legal maxim which says that al-aslu fil ashya'i al-ibaha hatta yadil dalil ala tahrim, meaning that the basic principle about matters is permissibility until evidence indicates that it is forbidden. What does it mean? Is that it's a very solid Islamic legal maxim which is heavily relied upon in Islamic law of contract and public dealings and financial transaction, meaning that financial transactions, public dealings, and contracts are allowed. People are allowed to have those contracts and they are permissible as long as there is no haram factor in it. So what is the haram factor mainly? So what does Sharia does is basically Sharia defines the haram area, the haram factors only, and says that like as long as you are not falling under those areas, as long as you are not falling in that specific haram area, then you are okay. It is permissible. So what are the haram factors? For example, riba, gharar, maisir. Like riba means interest or usury. Gharar means uncertainty. In contracts, if you have a lot of uncertainty, then the contract will not be permissible. But otherwise, if there is no uncertainty there is no riba, there is no specific haram element, or if there is no shartul fasid, which means that invalid condition or invalid clause, then the contract is permissible. And this also goes for the assets themselves, that as long as those assets are not intrinsically haram, like they do not have an element of haram intrinsically, then they can be considered as permissible. But So based on this, basically, we have categorization of mal mutaqawwam and ghair mutaqawwam, meaning that valuable asset and valueless property or asset in the eyes of Sharia. I give you an example of valuable asset like a house or Apple. So these are valuable asset because ingredient-wise, they are not haram, and you can buy and sell. They can become a subject matter of sale. Similarly, any digital asset, for example, if you are having mobile phones credit, so they are also valuable asset. They are intangible asset. They do not have physical existence, but you can trade them as well, like airtime, Wi-Fi, etc. And what is the example of a valueless or mal ghair mutaqawwam? Is basically wine. You know that like wine is categorically haram in Quran and according to Sunnah as well. So because of that, even if you try to acquire it in a Sharia compliant and halal with halal money, still it will remain haram. So that is basically an example of a valueless or valueless property or mal ghair mutaqawwam. Now, with this understanding, what we can do is like we can devise a Sharia framework for digital asset and cryptos. So what we can do, we need to understand that what is the objective of a specific digital asset, what is the issuance process, what is the operations and main usage of this specific crypto asset, is there any mining, farming, or staking behind it, whether these mechanisms are Sharia compliant or not, and how the transactions are being carried out in that specific crypto. So if we can answer this question and consider that like they are all free from haram elements, then we can say that this is halal. So that's how basically we can divide digital assets into halal and haram, and then halal digital assets can be divided further into payment tokens, currency tokens, and non-payment tokens and non-currency. The reason why I'm dividing this into these two main categories, because Sharia has very specific rulings for when it comes to dealing with the currency or payment. And if it is a non-currency, non-payment object, then of course, like we have a different Sharia ruling and set of rules and principles for that. Now, if I can give you an example of a halal payment token, so then Bitcoin is basically specifically for payment, and it's a halal token because there is no haram element intrinsically present in there. And if you are talking about a non-payment or non-currency token, then we can say that Uniswap token, or for example, because it's a non-payment token, it's a governance token. Or we can also consider like if we tokenize a real estate or gold and silver or any commodity like precious metals, which are Sharia compliant. So the underlying asset is Sharia compliant, and then we transform them into a token, then it will become a halal non-payment, non-currency token. I will be very quickly going through what are the latest developments in the crypto space and in relation to Islamic finance. So if you look at a very recent survey, which was done by Global Islamic FinTech Report 2025, they said that digital assets has become the most growing sector in the Islamic finance industry at the moment. So platforms, exchanges, wallets, custodians, and token issuers, they have become the sector with the highest expected growth, driven by favorable regulatory policies and political support as well. And if you look at what is the demographics of crypto asset and digital assets, so we have almost like 13 projects in MENA and GCC region, Southeast Asia 4, Europe 8, and in total we have 32 crypto asset projects in Islamic finance itself. Now, recently what happens is Dubai Islamic Bank has struck collaboration. They have announced an MOU with Crypto.com, where they are looking in the areas of promoting Crypto.com app, card, and then Crypto.com also has a payment card. So they also want, they are thinking about offering this card through DIB channels, reward-based campaigns, cryptocurrency payments via Dubai Islamic Bank system. So these are all the MOU's parts and the areas where this collaboration will take place. So what is happening is I'm trying to say that like it's a very big UAE bank, and they have taken a step forward to have this collaboration with crypto.com. So it's a very good sign that like Islamic finance is going towards that. I want to basically put down some of the possibilities and novel initiatives where I personally involved as well. So I basically played a role there. For example, in my past initiatives, we created the halal crypto wallet and halal liquidity provision, for example, how you can basically have a product which is halal and which can create passive investment in the crypto space. And then halal governance and voting system, then how we can create a governance token and a voting system within a crypto ecosystem in a Sharia compliant manner. And carbon credit tokenization is also one of the novel idea where I basically worked on. Currently, I am involved in some of the projects where we have Sharia compliance, AI-based engine, halal financing product, which are all crypto-based, decentralized murabaha, halal trading and leverage products, and halal staking on ETH and Ethereum and Solana. I think that this project will be talked about by Brother Fuda extensively. So I will leave it there. But what I'm trying to say here is that there are so many possibilities in the Islamic finance and crypto space. And this is already happening. It's not like it's only theoretical and people are just waking up to it and then thinking about it. This has already happened where we had these halal initiatives. What will happen, this is my last slide that I will just stop here, is that what will happen and how I see that like the future will be shaped with the Islamic finance and crypto. Most recently, I am also working on some of the concepts of Sharia compliant stable coins and also halal staking and Sharia compliant exchanges. Some of the exchanges have already started offering Islamic account based on crypto. So this is also another initiative which I see that like in the future it will get matured more. And we will also see some of the trading platform, halal marketplaces in crypto and Sharia compliant payments, etc. So this is basically my small presentation. And I just wanted to give you a glimpse of what is going on. And then inshallah, we will take this discussion to the Q&A section. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you, Farooq. Thank you for that. And anybody, if they have questions, they can post on that one. And I will request now Brother Jafar.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And good day for everyone here. First of all, thank you very much to Brother Farooq and Alif Technology for inviting me to be one of the speaker for this forum, talking about the Islamic digital market industries from regulator perspective. Basically, I think as what Brother Farooq mentioned just now, Dr. Farooq mentioned just now about, the global expansion of Islamic digital market, right? So basically what we are looking at is that this digital transformation is reshaping Islamic finance, right? So with Islamic fintech emerging as a key driver of financial inclusion, right? The sector transaction volume has reached almost $138 billion in 2023, and is expected to increase by 306 billion by 2027, inshallah. And currently, we already have 417 global Islamic fintech firms offering solutions such as digital banks, P2P, blockchain-based finance, technology, and whatnot. So for us, we are in Labuan Financial Service Authority. We are the regulator for the international business and financial hub. So what we look at from this angle is that it provides a niche market because we have about 57 Muslim countries. We have almost 2 billion Muslim populations. And digital is a way to connect these countries and this Muslim market, which is expected to reach almost $10 trillion in 2030. Right? So by doing that, we have launched an initiative which we call IDAC, Islamic Digital Asset Center, in 2022. And then followed by IDEC 2.0 in 2023, and now we are in the phase of IDEC 3.0 this year, right? So essentially, the IDEC is built on three main pillars, namely the Islamic digital capital market, Islamic digital financial market, and Islamic digital social finance. So let me talk a little bit on the Islamic digital capital market. Now, in Islamic digital capital market, we have 4 digital exchanges, and Alhamdulillah have listed almost 18 Sharia compliant tokens, which we call RAMZ, R-A-M-Z. It is a Sharia compliant security token. All right. So currently the value listed is almost 1.3 billion US dollars, right? 1.3 billion US dollars. Since we launched last year was 50 million US dollars, and alhamdulillah, this year it has increased to almost 1.3 billion US dollars. Yeah. So it is almost 2000% growth. That shows how the industry is rapidly expanding. And if you allow me to talk a little bit about these RAMs, so the listing is almost 18 listings, but the issuer is about 5 issuers. Okay, one of them is the tokenization of Sukuk issued by International Islamic Liquidity Management. All right, this is actually a multilateral Islamic organization that regularly issues Sukuk for liquidity for Islamic finance market. And alhamdulillah, so far the Sukuk we have tokenized, our player has tokenized almost US dollar 300 million US dollars. Okay, one of the token or RAMs is also a precious, what we call a precious metal mining and blockchain development company. All right, which are backed by about US dollar 6 billion in gold reserves, but they tokenize almost 800 million US dollars. And the other one is the what do you call it? The ceramic. Okay, a refined Chinese ceramic kept in a museum in Hong Kong. So they tokenize it and value around almost US dollar 20 million. All right, so more coming. Inshallah, this May, inshallah, they will be coming out green token. This is basically a carbon credit token to be issued one of our exchanges. All right, so that is the Islamic digital capital market. On the Islamic digital financial market, we are going to issue, inshallah, a few licenses on digital bank, but via the what we call a sandbox. We call it iBox. All right. Why? Because we believe that many fintech companies that are Sharia compliant do not have the banking capacity. Therefore, we enroll them under this iBox, or we call it the sandbox, and then we will monitor them and grow together with them, hold hands with them. Then, inshallah, after 3 years, they will mature as a full-fledged digital bank, Sharia compliant digital bank. And the third one is on the Islamic digital social finance. Whatever tokens listed in the exchange that I mentioned just now, a portion of it, a small portion, it will be airdropped to university students, to the poor sectors in the ASEAN communities. Okay, and this initiative we call it BIM Wallet. BIM stands for Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. Is a subset of ASEAN countries. All right, so that's what we call it, BIM Wallet. So basically, it is a part and parcel of the inclusion agenda to allow, especially university students, to hold and grow their assets digitally. Alhamdulillah, last year it was quite a significant milestone has been achieved. We have launched the world first Sharia compliant blockchain hub master plan in May. And then in July, as I mentioned just now, we have launched the Labuan Islamic Digital Bank Sandbox or iBox. And then subsequently, we also got the support from the Malaysian government, all right, in terms of giving a 5-year 0% tax exemption for Islamic digital players in Labuan, all right. So essentially, these eligible Labuan entities doing digital like banks, investment banks, takaful, all right, tokens, fund managers, exchanges, they are given, alhamdulillah, 5-year 0% tax exemption for them to do that, these activities. Okay. We also launched recently in December a guidance notes called the Ummah Link Company. All right, the Ummah Link Company is a special recognition accorded to Labuan entities that undertake Sharia compliant permissible economic activities digitally for the well-being of global Muslim, namely the Ummah, and to serve the unserved, the underserved market. Okay, so Ummah Link basically promotes financial inclusion and wealth distribution. So for example, in Malaysia, we have Hajj funds, right? Or we call it Tabung Haji. We have what we call it the pension funds or EPF. We have a Wakaf and Zakat, the collection of Zakat. So what we intend to do is that Ummah Link Company will basically use this model and export it to the global, the 57 Muslim countries in the world, and for them to basically save funds for pension, save funds for Hajj, pay their zakat, pay their Hajj, do their wakaf, all in digital mode through blockchain. And that in past that is actually being spelled out in our blockchain master plan. We also have a listing of our Sharia advisors. Alhamdulillah, right now we have about 33 of Sharia advisors listed, and we want to grow our listing of Sharia advisors to inshallah 100 by this year. What next basically for this year is that we are looking at the development of what we call Suyulah platform, or we call it liquidity platform, for both the fiat and also the digital market. All right, for the global players to interact. For example, central banks, right? Central banks, they manage reserves conventionally, but through the Soyula platform, central banks can manage reserve Sharia compliant, right? Because this Soyula platform is a matching platform for banks and central banks, you know, to place funds between each other. So this is what we want to do. We want to close the gap, close between the Muslim countries. You know, there we are spread out in the world, but digital should be able to close this gap. All right, between the Muslim countries, between the Muslim banks, central banks, cooperatives, for that matter, institutional investors, you know. So the liquidity is there, but it's just that we need a common platform to unite this liquidity, and that is what we intend to do, inshallah, this year, which we call it a Suyullah platform. Another thing that we are looking at is also, this is a bit, what do you call it, critical, because we are coming up with an idea called multi-faith digital bank, whereby in this digital bank, basically it focuses for Islamic finance offering as what we are doing right now, but it also be looking at on other religion as well, because in Malaysia we have various religion, we have Christian, we have Buddhism, we have Hinduism. So we are looking at how this digital bank can offer the same solution to other religion. But the common universal theme is no riba. There's no interest. Because these religions, all major religions in the world, against interest or riba. But of course, they will have their own account, which will be separated from the Islamic finance. This is something that we are looking at, because we feel that in terms of inclusion, there are also other for example, the churches and the temples in Malaysia and or globally, you know, they have collecting funds, but there's no other venues for them to keep or to save the funds. So this is something that we are looking at. But again, this is something that we want to get clearance from the Sharia board to see how we can structure as such. Okay, I think that's about it from my side. Inshallah, if there's any questions, I'm very happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Jafar. Thanks a lot for your in-depth, detailed and understanding given to us. To you, further.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thanks for inviting me to this great event. I will start by maybe a quick introduction about Inshallah Network and what we are trying to do, and this will guide actually the few points that I will discuss today with the audience. So Inshallah Network is a US-based company where we actually have this insight that, given how the world is moving today and like what we see happening in the world, it's important for Muslims to achieve a financial independence. They shouldn't be just trusting in the existing financial system, or what we call traditional finance, TradFi. And crypto is one of the ways we can achieve this. So this is kind of where we coming from. We have been operating for about 1.5 years. We have already launched multiple products, including halal Ethereum staking, halal Solana staking, and we are planning many products that actually go even deeper in the financial stack, like zero riba lending and all of that stuff, and stable coins. And we will be sharing more plans about that soon. So as a company that is actually building in the space and like trying to build new products in the space, I want to share what I call a practical view of what is Islamfi in crypto is, like what is Islamic finance in crypto, and how a builder can, or how a technologist can actually come into this space and build something useful or build useful products for people to use. And one major advantage that we are having today is that to a large extent we have moved beyond the initial crypto debates. Like if we were having this discussion in 2017 or 2018, most of the discussion will not be about what products are being built, but it will be about is crypto halal or not. I know Sheikh Farouk has gone through this phase. I personally have, I would say, countless debates about is BTC halal or haram? Is Ethereum halal or haram? What is the value of them? And now we are seeing more adoption and more understanding of the usefulness of these crypto assets and how they enable new economic behaviors that were not possible before. So now we are seeing more Muslims actually get exposure to this asset class. We are seeing more Muslims holding Bitcoin. We are seeing more Muslims interested in new assets like Ethereum or Solana or Berachain, whatever it is. But we are seeing more increased adoption in the ownership of crypto assets. And this is great. And I would say this is the first step toward building an Islamic crypto finance system based on the blockchain crypto rails. So first of all, like this is a good time to explore, and we are seeing building product in space allow us to see the excitement of these products. Like when we speak to Muslim users, they wanna say, I wanted to do this, but I wanted to borrow against my collateral or against my asset, but I cannot use any lending protocol that is will charge me interest because it's haram. I cannot use Compound. I cannot use Aave. I cannot use many protocols. So we are seeing demand from the users about like asking for products to serve their needs. And for that, we need to actually understand that the terms that I'm gonna use today often is decentralized finance or DeFi. And it's a complicated term. It means that you are building complete financial systems. You can have a bank completely digital. You can have lending completely digital without a centralized intermediary. You don't have to go to a bank to get a loan. You can do this completely from your laptop. So the concept of decentralized finance is new to many Muslims, and it needs to be like absorbed. Like the same way we have assets that are digital and like not issued by a centralized bank, we have now even decentralized product that you can do a lot of financial interactions without a centralized authority. So this is kind of as a state of affairs. We are moving essentially from just decentralized asset ownership like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana into how to use these products on a chain, how to use these assets on a chain, what can we do with them. Of course, in this regard, we cannot miss the major category of stable coins. Many people want to have their assets staved in a digital form that they can use it easily for payment across borders or to pay for business transactions. And stable coins like Tether and USDC has been very successful in this regard, and they have been seeing massive adoption. So in this regard, like what kind of users are we trying to serve in DeFi or in Islamic finance? There is always the early adopters, people who are actually very interested about crypto. They are willing to try new products. And these early adopters have been in Bitcoin and advocating for Bitcoin since 2011 or 2012. And Ethereum since 2015 and Solana since 2018. So early adopters are always on the front end or the like forefront of adoption of trying new products. And now these early adopters are the category of users who are asking for new financial product. How can I generate halal yield or halal investment return on my assets? There is also the later adopter, I will call them mainstream adopters, who are trying to get exposure to crypto, but in a very safe way. They don't wanna hold volatile assets. They hate the volatility of Bitcoin. They hate the volatility of Ethereum. So they wanna get exposure to real investment opportunity in crypto without getting access to the volatility of these assets. And for this category of users, we are seeing demands for stable coins that give them yield, or stable coins that represent, or like digital assets that represent real world asset like gold or real estate or sukuk. So this other class of users, traditional kind of investors, they wanna own the traditional assets that they have in real life, but in a better representation, a representation that gives them more freedom in using it. So when we build products for our users, we take into account what kind of background they are coming from. Are they the early adopters who wanna just innovative products that allow them to do stuff that they haven't been able to do before? Or they are like the kind of traditional users a little bit who want to get exposure to the space without too much volatility. And for us, we are taking a balanced view. We are building product for both users. So, for example, the Ethereum staking and Solana staking product that we have built are targeted toward early adopters who have the assets, but they want to generate yield. And then our next product, the halal yield earning stablecoin, is gearing more towards traditional users. So when we build with user, we have researched what actually Muslim users want to see in this space. So in our space now, we have seen users ask a lot about, give me a product that is easy to use. Crypto itself is still confusing. There is a lot of questions about custody and what is a secure custody and how to do all of that. And if you're building a product, you have to make it easy for users to understand and to use. Don't confuse them with a lot of aspects. The second part, people are very concerned about security. If you see mainstream headlines, it's always about this hack or that hack, so like $400 million lost, $1 billion lost. So Muslim users care a lot about security, and they make sure that you have done everything in your capacity to make sure that your platform is secure. And personally, we learn it to take serious. Like we from the beginning, we want to build a secure system, but you have to go above and beyond when it comes to security. And of course, as Muslims, we care a lot about halal income. So like everything you do, not just at the product level, but even at the company level, has to be Sharia compliant. And working with like enlightened scholars like Sheikh Farouk here was always a pleasure to work with people who understand the space and help us navigate any issues with Sharia compliance. Um, and finally, one of the main demands is that you are building products that meet users where they are. If users now are excited about Solana, for example, you have to go and build your product on Solana. If your users are excited about Bitcoin L2s, you have to go to where your users are and build your product in Bitcoin L2s. It's not just I will build it and users will come. You will have to actually understand the users and what they are excited about and go meet them where they are. So Muslim users in general are very risk averse, and you have to actually address all this point. You have to address the UX, you have to address the security, you have to address the halal mechanics. And at the end of the day, you have to build a competitive product. You cannot say, I will build a halal yield product that gives you 0.5% yield. There is better opportunities for the Muslim users out there, and you will have to think about how to be competing or how to offer a competitive product in this regard. So, my last point here is that, like, there is a lot of demand, and there is a lot of aspects. I like in the last 2 years, I have seen, mashallah, many experienced builder coming from big companies like Google and Facebook and Amazon, building Islamic, like leaving their comfortable jobs and building Islamic financial product in crypto. And this tells us a story. This tells us a trend. There is a demand, and experienced builders are trying to jump in to meet this demand. And in this demand, we have many categories. I will just name a few before I stop and pass the mic. So, first category that I think many people are interested about is real world assets. They want to be able to own real estate in hot economies on a chain. They want to be able to own sukuk in profitable companies on a chain. So real world assets is a big trend, and it's growing, and it will grow further. But one also a new emerging trend which we are focused on is native on-chain yield. If you have actually crypto assets, if you own crypto assets, or if you own Bitcoin, if you own Ethereum, if you own Solana, or you own even stablecoin like USDC, how to generate yield on these products on a chain? You don't have to go off a chain to generate yield. Can you generate yield on this on a chain? And the answer is yes, and that's where we're actually trying to specialize in, which is building product completely on a chain to generate yield. Again, and the third trend, which is important, is payments. We have seen explosive adoption of stable coins because how they are more efficient in moving funds from between borders, how people can use it to pay businesses. So we are seeing a lot of products in payments and stable coins. And finally, one important trend that we are seeing also is decentralized infrastructure, or what we call typically in our sector as DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. And this is a massive trend because it allows emerging economies to build infrastructure that they couldn't build before, like decentralized solar network, decentralized energy network, decentralized even phone networks, if you wish. And this is a massive adoption, and this actually even more appealing to people who like to see tangible assets, like they want to see um, cell towers, you want to do solar cells. So this is more appealing to these users. So if you are a builder who is exploring how to build Islamic finance product in the crypto space, these are some of the trends that are actually very important and very needed by the current Muslim users. So this is kind of some of the high level aspects or practical aspects of how crypto is emerging and how can we serve better the needs of our Muslim users. This is kind of what I wanted to say today, and I think we can answer more questions later.
Thank you very much, Mohammad Fauda. I have just, before we go to question and answer, I have some queries receiving that one to Brother Jafar. Brother Jafar, you are there. How many companies, exchanges are there on Islamic cryptos or company there in Labuan?
Basically, we already given about 4 digital exchanges in Labuan, and 3 of them are basically doing like a window kind of thing. And we have one digital exchange that 100% fully focus on Sharia compliant, and even they have their own Sharia advisor to advise in terms of the types of the tokens to be issued and listed in the exchange.
Okay, so it means that it is 100% and it is operative already.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, as I said just now, Alhamdulillah, we already listed almost 1.3 billion US dollars worth of Sharia compliant token. We call it RAMs, RAMZ.
Okay, thanks a lot. Dr. Farooq, there are some questions on the Q&A section. If you're kind enough to see that these questions, and then the first one is from Abdul Munim, Abdul Ghaffar, and Assalamu alaikum. According to the definition of asset, I know is that it must be a physical, useful, concrete, must be physical and touchable. The value must not be intrinsic. Let it be must be something can generate fund itself. How can we categorize crypto asset as an asset with above characteristics?
Okay, Walaikum Assalam, Abdul Mumin. Actually, it's a misconception that usefulness and asset has to be physical, touchable, If you cannot touch it, it is not an asset. So again, in my presentation, I briefly touched upon the assets which are not physical or touchable. For example, a right to live in a house is not touchable. House is touchable, of course, it's physical, but the right is not. So ijara, for example, has been a very classical fiqh example and has been used throughout the centuries. And we have like specific Sharia principles and rulings about ijara. Similar goes for services. So if you are doing a service, for example, how you are going to touch that specific service, because you need to understand that when we are doing a transaction, what is the subject matter and what is the price for that subject matter. The subject matter can be produced, or the source can be physical, but it doesn't mean that the subject matter has to be physical or touchable. Like ijara, rent, or for example, service. Or I can give you another example of mobile credits or Wi-Fi, for example. You know that like in so many sukuk, I think that brother Jafar also are aware of it, that in so many sukuk, the underlying of sukuk was mobile credits, was airtime, which is called airtime. It is not touchable at all. So it has been used as an underlying asset for sukuk, for Islamic securities. So similarly, you are correct partially saying that it should have usefulness, and it should have some benefit, economic benefit, but it doesn't mean that the benefit has to be touchable or physical. So similarly, if you look at crypto, for example, what is the utility, what is the economic benefit, what is the usefulness of Bitcoin? So it can transfer value from one point to another in a very fast manner, borderless, and with ease and with confidence and with transparency. So this is basically the utility of Bitcoin. If you ask me that what is the utility of Ethereum, for example, how it is useful. So Ethereum is a blockchain platform which can enable you to write computer programs like algorithms, like we call them smart contracts. So it can accommodate all types of smart contracts and programming logic. And you can run this programming logic on that platform with that specific token. So you use this Ethereum as a gas fees, or you can say it's like a blood in that whole ecosystem. So this is the usefulness of Ethereum. So in that sense, we have to understand that what is the usefulness, for example, when it comes to the contracting parties. For me, for you, maybe like you are not doing so many borderless transaction, cross-border transaction, maybe. I'm just giving you an example, but somebody is doing cross-border transaction. They want to really transfer funds in a very quick manner, in a transparent manner. So they can use Bitcoin. For them, there is a usefulness. Now, the thing is only the Sharia asks the question that whether this usefulness, this utility, this economic benefit is Sharia compliant or not. Is it halal or not? If it is not halal, then of course, like you cannot do that transaction. But as a subject matter, you have to understand that Sharia has a different set of questions, that whether this subject matter intrinsically haram, does it have haram elements in it or not by nature. So if you say that like by nature there are no haram element, then the subject matter will be halal. Whether the transaction is halal or not, then you have to see that what is the economic benefit, the contract itself, what are the clauses, what are the conditions, and then you can say it is halal or not. I hope that I have clarified it a little bit.
Thank you, Farooq. And I think somebody raised the hand and she's not there. Anyhow, the next question is Abdul Razak. Assalamu alaikum. Based on research so far, are there specific cryptocurrencies that has been confirmed to be Sharia compliant? If yes, could you please name them?
Okay. First of all, I would say that still it is a very new subject for most of the Sharia scholars. And Sharia scholars are divided on this topic. Some Sharia scholars are saying it is halal. Some of them are saying it is not halal. All of them, like it's a blanket ruling. And some of them are saying it's in a gray area. I would like to say that as a Sharia scholar, and I have been in this space since 2016, almost like more than 9 years now. So my opinion is that at some Sharia, some crypto assets are halal, some of them are not halal. So you cannot have like a blanket Sharia ruling that all of them are halal or all of them are haram. Some of them are halal, some of them are not, just like stocks or shares. And we have a criteria to analyze each crypto and can say that like whether it is halal or not. You have asked some of the examples that what are the examples of halal crypto assets. So I can say that like Bitcoin is halal, Ethereum is halal, XRP is halal, and Uniswap is halal. So these are the cryptos which are halal, considered halal according to the specific criteria, according to my research.
Dr. Farooq, you have some screening, I think, platforms which screens each, a crypto, whether it's it's a halal or haram.
Yeah, actually, this is a very good question. What I have done is basically it's my startup Basel Innovation, and what I'm doing under this Basel Innovation that I am creating an AI-based Sharia compliance engine, which what it can do is basically it can screen a protocol, it can screen a token from the Sharia perspective, and then can tell you that whether it is halal or not. And I am basically developing this AI engine and AI-based platform with specific data. It's not basically like ChatGPT, like you can go and ask ChatGPT that whether it is halal or not, because ChatGPT has all type of data. So what I'm doing is like I am training this AI model, and it has specific parameters and specific conditions. So then if it does not know that whether for sure that a specific crypto asset is halal or not, let's suppose that you ask him that Trump coin is halal or not, and if it doesn't know, then it will just tell you that I do not know, rather than making up a question, an answer to it.
At
So
your
this
own
is,
risk.
yeah. So I
At
mean,
your
it
own
says that
risk.
I do not know,
Yeah.
but if it knows for sure that it is halal or not, then it will tell you.
Okay, thank you very much. Fawad, just one quick question. How many Islamic finance addresses how the Islamic finance addresses the issue of scams associated with cryptocurrency investment?
So there are two aspects to that. So first aspect is that as a builder, you will have to be using Islamic ethical finance. When you build stuff, you have to be very careful about security, because if you are not careful about security, hackers will come and steal your assets, and you will be defined as a scam despite you are being an honest player, but like you got complacent about security, and now the user fund got stolen. So that's one aspect you have to be very, very careful as a builder about security. The other one, which is a collective effort, there are similar to any space, similar to finance, similar to sports, similar. There are malicious players, there are unethical players, and we as a collective we have to expose them. When we see someone who is building something just to scam people, we have to take the effort and like to battle this, and like take the effort to like expose this unethical behavior, to prevent user from falling for these scams. So it's a combined effort between builders who have to be very careful about their building, and between every user who, when they have to expose bad actors in the space.
Thank you. Brother Jafar, there's a question that is DeFi, decentralized finance, permissible?
Well, I'm not a Sharia scholar, but yeah, from
But you are regulator. You will say whether it is falling or not.
from
You are
regulator
yes,
perspective,
saying that do you consider, I will change the question. Do you consider decentralized, things as a Islamic coming under that one or not?
If I
yes,
can say,
definitely.
Brother Jafar, before that, so like, let me
Yeah.
just refine the question that being a regulator, how do you see decentralized finance, and what are the main parameters or main criteria you are looking at when incorporating a DeFi protocol or system into a regulatory space?
Okay. From Labuan experience, basically we are using the existing law. For example, the Labuan for Islamic banking and securities law. But what we're trying to do is to refine that law in a sense that, for example, like securities, right? Securities currently spelled out as just bonds and shares. But then we refine it to say that it also include the mode of representation is also include digital. So that is why we issued guidance notes, okay, that refer to the existing act. And the guidance notes, we have both the security token offerings, guidance notes, and also we have a specific Sharia compliant securities token, which we call RAMS, as I mentioned just now, guidance notes that complement the existing act. So therefore, that basically when we talk about securities, it's not just bond and shares, but also a digital assets, in this case token, or we call it securities token. Alhamdulillah, we also have issued recently, we call it credit token guidelines, and also that also include Sharia compliant as well. But that's why we insist that any kind of issuances out of Labuan, if you want to call it Sharia, it has to be approved by the Sharia scholars that we have listed in our website. So we have, Alhamdulillah, going to be around 50 of them. The whoever issuers who wants to do the Sharia token out of Labuan can pick any of the Sharia advisors and to advise them accordingly. But from our side, we also have a centralized Sharia board. We call it Sharia Supervisory Council. Any general issues that relates to the Sharia on digital matter, which is what we call it, macro issues, will be referred to the Sharia Supervisory Council. All right. So, and as I said, Alhamdulillah, our Sharia Supervisory Council has given a consent to say that as long as the respective issuer has got their Sharia advisor to advise them, then that should be fine. And we also issued a guideline to say that anybody who wants to do Sharia digital must have Sharia advisor. That part we cannot automate. We must have a Sharia advisors to ensure
Yeah.
that
So
the
you don't
activities are
have
Sharia
Robo
compliant.
Sharia advisor, huh? For the time
Yeah,
being.
if the parties wants to have their own Robo Sharia, it can, but we insist that they must also have a physical Sharia advisors, which
Yeah, I
already
have met.
listed in our Sharia.
Yes, I have met one professor, Farooq's friend, Dr. Mubarak Farooq, who is
Yes.
doing that one on Robo on something like that, and he did for some bank also in Malaysia. Dr. Farooq,
Yeah.
there is a quick question for you. Can smart contracts be Sharia compliant? So can be this?
Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what is a smart contract. It's just a program, and it is just a software, you can say, or algorithm. That's it. And it tried to achieve a specific objective. Number one. Number two is like smart contracts. What is the difference between a normal contract and a smart contract? Smart contracts actually run on blockchain. That's it. And normal contracts, they can be digital, they can be non-digital, but on paper we can have contracts. So a smart contract a smart contract runs on blockchain. So how can we make it Sharia compliant? Again, we have to if as long as it is according to the Islamic law of contract and it fulfills the Sharia principles and rulings, then we can have like a smart contract. By the way, just want to add that I think that right now what we are doing also is that when we try to, or as a Sharia advisor to different projects, when I try to basically advise them that how to conduct, how to develop their product, how to run this product, and how to basically conduct their operations, and how the transactions are being done, then we also try to see the smart contract itself. Like there has to be a Sharia audit of a smart contract itself once it is developed.
Thank you, Farooq. Muhammad Fawad. Fawad, there is
Fawda.
a quick question here. Fawda, sorry. There is a question that what you see the prospects of, you already running, one of the startup in Islamic, Inshallah network. What you see the future, that growth of this Islamic, finance and digital finance in near future and far future?
The ultimate goal here is to create alternative systems to the unethical and non-Islamic financial system that exists today. So today, if you want to have a mortgage or to have like a loan against your collateral, you have to go a bank and you, especially if you are in the Western Hemisphere, you will have to pay interest, right? Yeah, there is some efforts to create halal mortgages and stuff like that. So our ultimate goal in the long term is to replace every product that exists in crypto today, in DeFi today, that is not halal by a halal alternative. So if you want to borrow against your assets, you will have a halal alternative to Aave. If you want to trade or like create like special rights to for a DBM protocol, you will have a product that helps you do this instead of using a haram alternative. So that is the long-term goal. As of now, we are seeing, I personally know about 20 startups with amazing founders or amazing founding teams building an Islamic finance product ranging from tokenizing gold to tokenizing real estate to tokenizing uh, on-chain yield like we do to like bringing sukuk on-chain to building Islamic banks on-chain that you can actually have a balance on-chain that you can use for everyday transaction. We have seen a lot of effort toward payments. So we have payment cards that people can use everywhere in the world, collateralized by their crypto assets. So there is massive growth in this needs and the companies that address these needs. And I'm personally very optimistic that in the next few years, we will have multiple Islamic finance protocol that will have $1 billion in TVL. In TVL, which is called total value locked, which is the amount of assets the protocol holds on each chain. Within my guess is that within the next 3 years, 2 3 years, we'll have already a couple protocols. We hope to be one of them that will have $1 billion of assets on each chain.
Your company is registered in USA, am I right?
The company is incorporated in the US, but the team is actually spread between the Western Hemisphere. I'm personally in Canada
So how,
and the
yes,
UAE.
okay, yeah. So how is the response of your company and your platforms in the Northern American side?
So we have like Muslims in the West typically are one of the most people who struggle about getting exposure to halal investments, right? Because in the West you have a lot of investment opportunity, but easily 99.9% of them are haram, right? So you cannot just easily get accessible. Like if you are buying stocks, you will have to actually go to screening apps to know which stock to buy or which stock and which stock to hold for the long term. Similarly, when it comes to crypto, it's easy to use many crypto protocols or crypto DeFi protocols, but many of them have issues, Sharia compliance issues. So many users have wealth, crypto wealth, they have crypto assets, and they cannot use it at all. And that's what actually inspired us to solve this problem because we were being asked, and we had these problems ourselves. Sometimes I have some Ethereum and I have a payment and in real life that I need to do, and I have to sell my Ethereum to pay these bills. Instead, I can just take a halal loan against my Ethereum and pay these bills. So I will be personally, I am personally needed this product. That's why we are building it. And this is a very common theme between many crypto investors that sometimes they wanna pay their taxes, they wanna do stuff without getting exposure, without having to sell their assets. And that's one of the products that are mostly needed right now.
Thank you, Arman. There is one question. So the yield, which is basically interest rate, is also taken as the benchmark rate for Islamic finance, the same way the Islamic bank use Kibor and Libor as the bench market rate. So, Farooq?
I think that Mohammed Fuda, if you would like to shed some light on it, and then I will add upon it.
So people like just try to jump quickly and say yield is interest rate. Yield definition is that if you have an investment, if I bought a 100,000 house, and I'm using this as an investment, and I'm renting it. So I'm renting it for let's say $10,000 a year. So now I'm generating $10,000 a year on a principal investment of 100K, right? So we define yield as a mathematical division of these two numbers. You have a return on your investment ROI, you divide it by the principal number, and you get a yield. People kind of get scared when they see a percentage. They assume that it's interest rate, like any percentage that whatever existed is interest rate. And like honestly, that's a silly misconception, like a very silly one, right? A percentage as a mathematical equation. If it can represent halal investment, the same way it can represent a haram investment, right? So when we say yield, ask yourself what is the source of this yield. That is the only question that matters to define if this yield is halal or haram. Not that I express the yield as a percentage. You can say, oh, it's a percentage, so it's a haram. Of course, like halal investments have a variable yield. That's a concept of halal investment that you cannot guarantee anything, right? Allah knows what's happening in the future, so you cannot guarantee certain percentage. But if I say my protocol gives a yield between 3% to 5%, then that's actually my estimate based on our experience in the market. It's not a guarantee that we will give you 3% to 5%. It's from previous experience. It's not a guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed. And this is just what we have experienced before.
Just want to add here from the traditional perspective, I think that a direct response to that, and I would like to add what Brother Fuda has said. Islamic banks, when they use Kybor and Libor, so we know that Kybor and Libor are actually interest rates, okay? And they are basically the cost of funds. But here we are talking about a mixed rate, which can be interest, which can be profit, which can be ROI, whatever it is. Because as you know, that when we are talking about decentralized finance, so there are so many protocols with so many different economic objectives, with so many type of interest rate and with profit rate also. So because of that, we cannot just say that like it is interest rate, which is a benchmark. So no, it's not like that. It's different because it's a mixed one. And just to give you an example of Ethereum staking yield. So this is the most stable, most popular and widely used rate as a benchmark. It is not interest rate, by the way. It is a fee rate. So which is now some scholars, they say that like it is a mixed fee rate. Mixed fee rate means like, because depending on the transaction, whether the transaction is halal or haram, you can say that like it's a mixed fee rate. Some of the Sharia scholars have the opinion, and my personal opinion also is that that when even it is mixed, it is not uprightly haram. So meaning that like this fee rate is halal, of course, like, but the most you can say with some of the questionable transactions that it will become makruh, but not uprightly haram. Meaning, so what I'm trying to say here is that when you hear about Kybor and Libor, you are sure that it is interest rate, and it is used as a benchmark in Islamic finance industry, unfortunately. But in the DeFi space, when you hear about yield, when you hear about staking rewards, they are not uprightly interest rates, and they can be mixed. And and sometimes like you will find that amazingly they are more halal than the
Thank you, Farooq. Dr.
using Kybor and Libor.
Thank you, Dr. This last question before we close down for that. I think you are typing for the answer also. There is some people they're asking question: can a startup, entity develop a tokenized Sukuk platform? What challenges urgently needed to address for the Sukuk using DLD?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I will just give maybe a 30-second answer, but I will defer to Sheikh Farouk on this one. Personally, especially with the recent guidance from IOFI around Sukuk, that they have to involve change of ownership. I personally believe that blockchain and DLT is a much better option to do this than any platform that exists today. In blockchain, you can represent the ownership as a digital asset that you can easily move between users, right? So let's say Sheikh Farouk is creating a Sukuk for his company, and he represents the ownership as a token or as an NFT. Then he can actually send this NFT to the person who is issuing the Sukuk, and now this person will have ownership of the underlying asset. So you cannot do this easily on traditional rails, like, because in contracts and everything, like, you that's actually why many people object to, I think it's 62, like standard 62 from IOFI. It's like, it's complicated to do this on traditional world, but I think the LETs are very useful for Sukuk. And I will defer to Sheikh Farouk for a
Thank
more
you.
complete
Thank you.
answer.
Thank you.
Thank you
Dr.
so
Farooq,
much. I
just
think-
I need you to do a closing remarks and to you, Dr. Farooq, because the time we are already over, 15 minutes. Thank you. To you,
Okay,
Dr. Farooq.
first of all, I would like to thank again and Jazakallahu Khaira to our respected speakers. They actually took out the time from their busy schedule, like from Brother Fuda. I think that it is 4 a.m. in the morning in Canada, or maybe like middle in the night. And also Brother Jafar, for example, he is in Bangkok, and he was texting me before the webinar that I'm rushing to the hotel just to attend this webinar so that I can find a stable internet connection. So thank you so much for taking out the time. And
No problem.
and most of all, most importantly, also to our listeners, to our attendees, that they participated in this webinar. Please share your feedback with us. We through your email maybe, or through any comments on YouTube, because this is also, our webinar was also broadcasted on YouTube Live. So you will, inshallah, later on, you can see the recording of this webinar as well on YouTube. And with that, inshallah, what happened is, like previously we had been focusing, Alif Technologies had been focusing a lot on webinars, but due to some urgent matters and other engagements, to be distracted from our webinar series.
I will add
previously-
on, Dr. Farooq was the head for, Marhaba DeFi. So he was full-time busy on that one, and he's still the Sharia, I think is called for that. And then he was in operational head for first Islamic decentralized coin Marhaba DeFi. So now I've requested Farooq that again, after 1.5 years, we are back on
Yeah.
our,
So almost like we are starting this webinar series again, and inshallah we will hope that we will benefit to the ummah and to the Muslim, to bring them to the digital transformation, fintech, crypto in a very positive and ethical manner, inshallah. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Arman. Thank you, everybody.